Hey, good morning, Misfits. I hope everybody's having an amazing day. It is Memorial Day. Congratulations for getting up so early on a holiday weekend. I appreciate y'all showing up. We are, it's a Monday morning. We had a great weekend, having some great conversations, and we're just going to have some fun this morning. And let's see, what else is going to happen? That's up to you. It's getting close to the end of the month, and so I hope you're working towards reaching rank for your business, if you choose to do that. And if there's any talent or skill that you need, something that you may need a little push on to reach your rank, whatever it is, because this is a call for a variety of companies. And it's about personal development. So hopefully everybody's doing well. Good to see everybody here. Just looking at some of the names here. I know that one. So the question is it worth it? I got a few messages this morning about people saying they're really working hard. They're doing all of the right things. They want to achieve success. They're doing all of the activities, but they're forgetting, possibly they might be forgetting the reason they got started in this profession. And that is to take care of themselves and their family. So it's pretty interesting to see how sometimes we can get too focused on something and miss the thing that's most important right in front of us. That'd be family, or even taking care of ourselves. So as we get started today, let's go ahead and send out our 3 messages of joy, of gratitude, of love, right? Who are those people that you want to be a part of? Who are those people that you want to be a part of your day? Send them out some messages of gratitude, of joy, to let them know you're thinking of them. And when you do that, that gives you space. That opens up the space for you to have some more joy flow back into you. Kind of a simple concept if you think about it. I'm just looking at names to let folks in as we sit here this morning. So if you're new to this call, drop an N in the chat. We'd love to welcome you to this call. My name's Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. And what we do is we have a conversation about personal development. I happen to be in a networking company that is designed to build people. And I'm in a wellness company. There's a lot of people in a variety of different companies on here, all awesome companies, because they're in the design of building people. So with that being said, let me just make another person co-host. What is something that if you could do now, if there's something you could learn or pick up, what would you want to pick up? Type it in the chat. What would you want to pick up from a talent or skill in the next 5 days to help you reach the next level of success in your business? Is there anything particularly that you would want to better speaking? So AJ, better speaking comes from being responsible to them, not for them. Zaid, I can't help you on the trading. That's not necessarily, I don't know that stuff. That's because I'm not part of that particular market. But public speaking, I can talk with you about, and emotional intelligence for sure. So public speaking comes from practice, and it comes from a way of just telling a story. Too many people try to get too many facts across when you tell a story. Same thing happens when you prospect. And as you prospect, what happens is that we try to get too much information across. The thing that it worked really well for me, having a conversation with somebody I didn't know, is having a conversation about something they knew about. And that thing is them. So getting them focused on what actually is happening, what's about to transpire in the conversation. So in public speaking, there's 3 very simple rules. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them. So whether I spoke in China or in any of the other 39 countries, the 30 countries that I stood on stage in, start off by telling them what you're going to do. Tell them what you told them. Now, here's the secret. If you decide to have a conversation with somebody, and in that conversation, you want to make sure you tell it in short stories. It's called vignettes. So if you're going to publicly speak, it's important that you have these little vignettes, these little 5-minute stories, 5 to 6 minute stories, 3 to 5 minute stories. And the reason that you want these 3 to 5 minute stories is because you want to be able to have flexibility in your conversation. It doesn't matter when I've spoke. I've either been asked, they've given me a specific time and they've asked me to go longer, or they've asked me to go shorter. And if I have a conversation that is a 30-minute presentation, and they say, can you go 40 minutes? Most people are like, I don't know how to add 10 minutes. Or if they go, you only have 20 minutes. Well, but I've got a beginning, middle, and an end, and it's taken 30 minutes. So you have to have these little 3 to 5 minute vignettes, and you need to know those cold. So you don't make a point without don't make a point without telling a story, right? If you listen to Jim Rohn's stuff, if you listen to Bob Proctor, unless it's a seminar, public speaking, here's the key to public speaking: humor. Make them smile, get them a chance to think. World-class public speakers get people to focus on your words, whether they be listening or ingesting your words. Public speaking, the world-class public speaking is to get somebody to have a reaction at least twice a minute. See, all too often, there's not enough time. People don't slow down enough. There's not a chance for humor. There's not a chance for, does that make sense? And they get to nod their head. So world class is to have about 2 interactions every minute. Now, that's difficult to do if you're trying to remember your conversation, if you're trying to remember what it is you're talking about. So, yeah, there's a whole training that we do on public speaking, but that's it in a nutshell.
Sean, you are a crazy, crazy man. And I just want to thank you for all this nuggets. And now when you said all this, and I go remember what I heard from Les Brown and all his speeches, this is exactly point to point how he does it. Point to freaking point.
Well,
short stories, humor. He laughs a lot. He jokes a lot. This is crazy, man. Thank you. Thank you.
And again, it's all in there. There's a pattern. Most of us were taught by Bill Gove. Bill Gove is the father of public speaking. Bill Gove was taught by a man who was taught by Mark Twain. Mark Twain's a pretty good public speaker, one of the best orators that's walked the planet. And Bill Gove was the first one to bring that information out to the public, right? So he's known as the father of public speaking. He's taught all of the greats, sat at Bill Gove's chair and learned from him, which is now called the Gove-Siebold Group, run by Steve Siebold, who's a friend. Let's see. What about, I'm going back here, listening, public speaking. So Vanessa, we just touched on that. So listening listening. So there's a difference between listening and active listening. Listening is where you pay attention and you know when they stop talking. Follow me on this. Listening is where they stop talking. Oh, now it's my turn to talk. There's silence. That's listening. Active listening is a head nod, is a, oh, I see. And you're actually ingesting what it is they say, because when you actively listen, follow me on this, you can actively enroll. Some of you have had some issues, some challenges enrolling folks. And the reason you've had some challenges enrolling folks is because you didn't hear what they were asking in their statements. A lot of times in their statements, they will ask you questions, but they'll be presenting them as facts. And what they're really asking is this statement true? Can you make, how much money did you make? What kind of income can you make? Nobody makes money in that kind of stuff. That's a pyramid. That's a this, that's a that. All that to say, when you actively listen, you'll start to hear what they would really like an answer to. Oftentimes when we hear the question, sometimes if we're not actively listening, we'll answer the question they asked. What? What are you talking about? We'll answer the question they asked. And when we answer the question they asked, that's not really the answer they were looking for. Let me explain. When somebody asks me a question, and again, because I've done this thousands of times, I'll usually ask them, hey, that's a great question. I get that question a lot. Can you ask it to me in a different way? Can you ask it to me in a way without using the same words? And guess what happens? They ask a completely different question. So now what happens is with this new question, we can now have the real conversation. All too often, we sometimes get so excited that they're actually engaged with us, they're having a conversation with us, that we'll answer the question that they asked, and it's not really the question they wanted an answer to. It's just what they've become good at listening for. It's become good at what they've been asking on a regular basis. See, my mentor taught me this. If you want better answers, ask better questions. The challenge is that they don't know the better questions to ask, which then puts the burden on us. Ask better questions. So what could be better questions? Well, the three questions that I usually start off most presentations with, even in an audience, even when I'm standing in front of the room, to get a little bit, to get the room focused on the same mindset, the same psyche, is I'll ask the same three questions. Do I have your permission to help? Do I have your permission to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable? Any one of you, when you're going to have a conversation with somebody, whether it even be a coworker or a teammate or a future business partner, there's going to be some point, some moment in time where you wind up making them feel a little bit uncomfortable. Even the pregnant pause. How many of us know that the pregnant pause makes people uncomfortable? Right? There's people that just turned back to the phone, that just turned back to the screen and went, did my phone go dead? In a simple 5-second pause, things like that can happen. So that being said, listening might require you to be able to ask better questions. So the best way to listen is to have who do more talking. Think about the last presentation you did. Who did more talking? And if it was you, then you might need to be paid as a teacher, because you're doing your best to educate them. Here's what I know after 40 years in sales. Everybody knows what they need to do next. What they need to do next is they need to create some kind of success. And the challenge is can you provide that place of success for them? Can you provide that place that allows them to step in to a place of safety? You're asking them to do something they've never done before, with somebody they've never worked with before, having to learn something they've never heard of before. That's uncomfortable. Just even if it works, it's uncomfortable, right? Even think about going to work out at the gym. Listen, you don't get a body like this by hanging out in the gym. So about once a month when I go, I'm going back to the gym now that they're open. You want to know the funny thing? I wasn't sure they closed. I wasn't even sure they didn't even know they closed. So, but when I go back, what happens when we go back to the gym? Especially if we've been there before. See, I grew up on a farm. I had a pretty good body on the farm, pretty solid, right? So you go back to the gym, you have this muscle memory, and you're like, I could do leg presses and crunches and all of this stuff. And then what happens the next day? And that's like trying to take the cover off of your bed. I don't know, I'm gonna move. Give me some Tylenol or Advil or something. This is what happens in network marketing. Sometimes we want to push so hard. We want to push so hard that we will attend every meeting. We will attend every event. We will go to every Zoom. We'll buy every book. We'll get every training. And all of a sudden, we've got enough information to last us 4 lifetimes, but I'm going to push through it. I'm going to learn it all. And you know what we wind up learning? Our old habits. See, I bought that and that didn't work. This is the phenomenon called addiction to approval. And the challenge is when we sit and try to listen to somebody, and I say the word try, we try to listen to them, we are addicted to whether or not we look good in their eyes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason that they can't look good in our eyes, is because we don't feel we look good in theirs. And this is the essence. How many of you have ever had somebody give you their mom's chicken soup or their homemade lasagna or spaghetti, and you're like, it's not like my mom's spaghetti, or it's not like the spaghetti I cook? See, this whole profession is an essence. And the essence is, can they feel good doing something they've never done before? That's the true question. Can you put them in a place? Can you allow them to sit in a place of the unknown? We call it the frontier, right? There's the plain, everything. If you were traveling in the wagons coming out from the east to the west and you're going across country in the plains, anything you're looking at forward that you've not seen before is called the frontier. You're always standing at that line between the past and the future. You're in the present right now. And in the present, what comes forward is the unknown. Now, you're sitting with a prospect who doesn't know what you know, has never heard from you before, has only maybe seen your Instagram, right, or Facebook pages, and they've made certain impressions. They've made certain decisions about you. So the question then becomes, when you sit down to listen to somebody, guess what they're doing? They're sitting down to do their best to listen to you. But if they have the filter that you're this model, that you're this beauty queen, that you're this entrepreneur of the next level, they can only hear your words from the pictures they've seen of your social media. And ladies, you've heard me mention this almost on every call. Sometimes it's very difficult for you to have conversations with definitely guys, because they see your beautiful pictures and all they can hear is, man, I wonder if she's single. So I'm going to encourage you, drop some nuggets of wisdom on your page.
I have a question about that.
Go ahead.
Can you just like randomly ask questions? Because it's like my third time.
No, yeah, sure you can.
Yeah. So I used to be a model and I love this industry.
Shocking. I'm looking at you. I'm going, really? You? No, come on.
Well, I had that experience and like, I don't like the whole superficial things, but it's just like a category that I fit into. But I'm someone like, I love sharing value with people over like pretty pictures and all of that stuff. But I get a lot of criticism, like you should use more pictures to attract people because you're going to get a bigger audience. Because when I talk about certain things and when I show leadership, like it's not conceived as popular as, you know, pretty
and who's
pictures.
telling you that? And who's telling you that? Listen, this isn't a beauty contest, but are they as beautiful as you or not as beautiful as you? So they're not as beautiful as you. And are you in their group or are they in your group?
Some are, yeah. But I don't care, but it's
No. Follow me. I want to help you with the psychology of why they're telling you what you should do. Are you in their group? Meaning, are you part of the, if you do well, does their check go up?
Yeah.
So they're using you.
I guess.
Yeah. And now let me share with you how you could use your beauty. Yeah, I know that kind of hurts, doesn't it? It stings. But you could say, listen, can I post some of your pictures on my page? Right? We're going to have some fun here. So Julia, here's how you can here's how you can use your beauty and use your smarts. Do a live. Do a live.
I've been doing that more. Yeah.
And now that you can do a live, so here's another thing you can do. Do a live, and now since your lives can go to IGTV, start some themes. Talk about beauty. Listen, you're gonna giggle because you've heard this 1,001 times, but your hair is absolutely beautiful. But I bet there's like every fifth day you're like, I wish I could just have straight hair, please, just for one day, straight hair, please. Right? So I would talk about a couple of things. I would talk about the way you can bring value, right? Because how many people would love a beauty tip? How many people would love to actually have somebody that could give them some guidance on what do you do with hair like this? But if you look around here, Katerina, she's got hair that's like that. There's a few of you that have this just absolutely gorgeous hair that's just like, pow, right? You have beautiful skin. I would talk about that, but then always relate it back to your business.
Yeah, but those subjects in general, they don't even interest me, the beauty subjects and everything. I love talking about leadership and I love talking about.
I get it. But again, when there's certain things that people can't get past your beauty to even hear your leadership. I know you're not talking about it because you have already got it. It's like me talking about network marketing. Why would I want to talk about network marketing and prospecting? You know how not hard it is for me to prospect? Because my attraction, 3-time #1 bestseller on Amazon, stood on 30 countries. I've spoken in front of probably close to 1 million people. Do you know how not hard it is for me to prospect? Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to sit here and teach you guys the ABCs of connection? Because it's the fundamental. It's because it's what people are looking for. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to always be that. Maybe your every third one is your tip. Maybe it's Wednesday wash your face tips. I don't know. But it's something simple like that, right? Even listen, people would be curious what kind of toothpaste you use. You have a brilliant smile. Well, it's really not my tooth. Now you're not going to smile for me. There you go. So leadership points. So here's a question. What if I could teach you about hair care and it only be about leadership?
Package it in a different way.
Right. So, one of the things people ask me all the time is they ask me, how do I wake up with my hair like this? The answer is not really, but it's the same thing with leadership in my business. I don't wake up ready to serve the world. I've got to make a conscious decision. So some of the things I do the night before to make sure my hair is in good shape is that I put on a hairnet, or I put in gel, or I do something. Well, it's the same thing I do in my business. Every night before I go to bed, I ask myself these questions. Who did I serve? Who could I serve better? And then, right? So you can always link it. Lipstick. One of the things I look for in lipstick is I got to make sure my lips don't chap. Right? So there's got to be this little, and I've always got to carry it with me, just like I carry my notebook, right? I don't know if you know it, but I'm in a business where I help people create their success. I help people. I've partnered with a company that'll help buy all of your cosmetics, whatever you want. You can see how you can link the two together.
That's brilliant. I love that.
So where do you live?
Belgium.
Okay. So you now have a global platform, right? One of the things is, do you buy any products other than from the country of Belgium for your skincare? Again, I know I keep going back to this, but do you buy anything from outside of the country?
Oh yeah, plenty of times online, all the time.
So, people ask me all the time, where do I get my toner? I know this sounds crazy, right? You're talking to some guy in Texas who probably doesn't know anything about cosmetics, but you'd be surprised. One of the things is I get my toner from abc.com, and it's not from Belgium, but you know what I also found? A lot of the leadership lessons I have that's helping me in my business aren't from Belgium either.
True. That's good.
See, I'm a storyteller. This is why prospecting for me is not hard. You can give me any profession. You can give me anything you do. And I can show you how you can always relate it back to leadership.
And how do you get better in that practice as well, I guess, with the public speaking?
Say it out loud. Don't spend time talking about what you want to do. Just start practicing it. Listen, I prospected myself. I started this industry 22 years ago. My first year, $80,000. Wait for it, in debt. Because I did it I did it the way my upline told me. I made them rich that year, but it made me very poor.
Yeah.
Now the challenge is in today's economy, you're trying to do things that your sponsor or upline are telling you to do, and it may not be making you poor monetarily, but it's breaking your heart because it's not who you are. And this is a general statement. So what I would encourage you to do is just start thinking about things and thinking about how does it relate to leadership, because you need to create new neural pathways. Take that whiteboard behind you. Would you like me to give you a leadership lesson on a whiteboard?
Absolutely.
One of the things that I love about skincare is everybody has a routine. And my daily routine, I put it on a whiteboard. And the reason the whiteboard makes sense, the reason whiteboard reminds me so much of leadership, is that if there's something up there that doesn't serve me, kind of like somebody that I thought was a good mentor, I can always erase them, just like I erase stuff on a whiteboard.
I love that.
The challenge is too many people don't even have anything written on their whiteboard of success. What I do in my leadership training and with the company that I'm a part of is I teach you how to get stuff up on the whiteboard. Now we can look at it. Now the whiteboard at least holds some ideas. And if there's things that you don't want in your life, we can start to erase it. And that's what I'm very good at. Getting rid of, out of your life, the things you don't want, helping you have more of the things you do want. Would you like to sit down at a whiteboard with me for a day and have a conversation?
That's so good. Oof.
So you see why people pay me lots of money.
Yeah, I completely understand.
And it has nothing, and it doesn't matter the industry. It doesn't matter the company.
It's amazing.
Right? So I'm in the wellness world. That works in the wellness world. That would work in the service world. I mentor a lot of people who are in the world of electricity, right? Power companies where they sell that, where they help you convert your electricity over to their company. Does that help, Julia?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sean.
You bet. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for being here from Belgium. Great to have you here.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
So let's see here. Brittany's got her hand up. Good morning, Brittany. Oh, I missed that laugh. Good morning. No, you're breaking up, dear. Oh, you were still laughing.
Hey, everybody.
Okay.
So I kind of a bit more on the personal side.
Oh, girl, you're breaking up. Nope, can't hear you.
Am I here? Oh no, am I?
No, it's kind of breaking up. So I'm going to leave your hand up. We'll come back to you. Corinne. Good morning, Corinne.
Yes, good morning.
Hang on, Abdul. Good morning, Corinne.
I'm fine.
No worries.
Good morning. You know,
Good morning, Corinne.
Good morning.
How
Hi.
are you?
I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm good. I'm very blessed.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Hi. I wanted to go back to the question. What can I do in the next 5 days that can build my business? And at first I thought, well, we got a lot of emails and contacts from our event on Friday. And at first I thought, okay, well, it would probably be profitable to, not profitable, but beneficial to speak to them, obviously, and send an email, thanking them for coming to the event,
Right.
This is the community, this is what we do, like some type of like formulative kind of gather them in our place kind of thing.
Yep. So, couple of things that are no cost to them. One is Telegram, right? So create a Telegram group.
Okay.
Another one could be a Facebook group, right? Let Facebook hold the platform. You can do lives in there. You can do chats in there. You could create a Facebook instant messenger group,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can do some videos. But if you created a Facebook group, I know Facebook isn't a place where most of you swim.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that on Instagram you can create a community chat room. So sometimes you have to go where the platform will serve you best. So you could make a Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, you can now post videos, you can post messages, you can post links. And now all of a sudden you have your community. And you make it private. You can, because you're going to know with 40 people, you're going to know who's in there, right? A dear friend of mine, actually one of my business partners, we've got 70,000 people in a Facebook group. Another one of my friends is followed by 1.7 million people. Followed, not even in our group, 1.7 million people. So some places, there's places where you just don't know where they are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got 40 people, yes, and your event on Friday was very, very powerful. So I would figure out a way to have a conversation with them.
Okay.
Y'all write this down. If you want to understand marketing at its essence, find an audience, talk to them. Find an audience, figure out a way to talk to them. And then every now and then, give them a chance to raise their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, Corinne, is give them a reason to take action on something, whether it's send an email and get the new PDF, get the new bit of information, give them a chance to buy something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People want a chance to participate. And sometimes they think the only way they can participate is to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have to have a feeling that they're part of the community. There's something that's interacting. So recognition is key. right? So when you guys come on here in the morning, I'm usually saying, hey, good morning, and I'm saying your name, right?
Mhm.
And what happens when I say your name? If I say your name, good morning, and good morning, Jennifer in Sweden, right? All of a sudden, people start to smile a little bit.
Mm.
Recognition is key. Men and babies cry for it, and men and women die for it.
Mm.
All for a little pin. Why do you think your company has ranks?
Mm. Wow. 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 Wow.
And here's the thing. A lot of times, depending upon the company, if you look at, I can tell you the philosophy of the company based upon the name they use for their ranks.
Mm.
If they're usually gem related, there's lots of money involved in the company.
Mhm.
Right? Black diamond, golden pearl, grand poobah with a red fez cap, right? So when you start to look at these names, you start to look at the philosophy behind the company. And then I can tell you how they're going to operate and how they're going to interact with people.
Okay.
Does that help?
It does a lot.
So where do you
And-
think you might start a community? You mean
so
you're going to ask me that now?
so Vach did start a Telegram, but I didn't follow up to check if the Telegram, if they have the ability to message within the Telegram group.
Yep.
But
And you can even do videos in but it's one way. It's a one-way chat.
Yeah.
So if you and Vach are admins of that group, you can send videos out to the group. I've done it in my group.
Right, but we want them to be interactive too, so they would
Right.
want them. Right.
So that would be, so maybe you just have a Zoom link regularly, but one of the things that people are saying, well, Facebook groups are over. They're over for a marketing purpose. They're not over for a community purpose.
Mm.
Right? People all too often were trying to use Facebook groups to gather, add, tag, and message, right? The ATM.
Mhm.
Add, tag, and message. And I'm going to put you in a group. And in that group was designed to sell.
Mhm.
People are part of too many groups now. Do they still work? They do, but it's for community. So if you
Right.
want to build your business, build your community.
Gotcha. Vach, are you on here? Vach, are you? I was looking for.
I think I saw her pop in.
Oh, okay. And then I had just one more question.
Sure.
Thank you. Then I thought, okay, well, because you talked about the addiction to approval.
Right.
And I asked myself, one, okay, am I still addicted to approval? And then two, can I release that, in the next 5 days, as my skill?
So yes, the answer is yes, you're still addicted, and yes, you can release some of it.
Okay.
We don't ever want to release all of it, because in what we do as a profession, serving people, we have to have a desire to want to be better.
Yes.
So we're gonna need some ego.
Okay.
The challenge is it ego edging God out, or ego energy going Godward, onward, and upward? Now, wherever, it doesn't have to be spiritual based. That's it for me. So now the question is that what is the addiction that's not serving me?
Ooh.
It's not that I don't love people.
Mm.
Right? Listen, I could be addicted to water. Now, if I drink too much, that's a bad thing. But most people aren't addicted enough to water.
Yes.
They're addicted to the idea that I don't drink enough water.
So true. And I'm not good enough because I don't drink enough water.
Right. So now all of a sudden, now go ahead. Listen, if you're having a bad day and you got the best makeup, you're still going to look like putting lipstick on a pig. It ain't going to work. Right? You can put the best lips, you can put the best makeup on somebody, but if they're mad and aggravated and agitated, it ain't going to make them joyful.
Mm.
So we have to, this addiction to approval is like eating an elephant. We got to do it one bite at a time.
All right.
All too often, and again, ladies, hear my heart, ladies. You're like, well, I'm just going to go work out at the gym and learn how to sing opera and walk in my high heels and repaint my Louis Vuittons. And I'm going to just, is it Louis Vuitton? It's not Vuitton, right? Those are the shoes I wear, Louis Vuittons. Actually, they're Leo Vuittons. But the point is that it's critical that we take this in bite-sized chunks.
Yeah.
So part of the challenges, Corinne, right now is I would encourage you, do I deserve to have a group? The answer is yes. Right? They already showed up because both of y'all were surprised. Right? Oh my God, what do they want? Now what do we do?
Sean
Right?
didn't tell us what to do next.
Sean just told us to do this. We did it, and holy crap, it worked. Now what do we do? And that's the basics of that's understanding humanity. Somebody said, I need to understand humanity better. The human perspective. The human perspective is we need a community.
Yes.
Right? So in the community, yesterday on the call, somebody who's a very dear friend of mine, Sharon Gist, said, she asked me in a message, she said, Sean, do you have a requirement that everybody who gets on your call has to be like a movie star? I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, I'm looking at all of the people who are on your call, and when they show up, they're the most beautiful souls I've ever seen. How did you find all these people? I'm like, because I make them look pretty? Right? Well, if we're going to hang out with him, we're sharper than a box of rocks. And, so the point is that it is true. Like energy draws like energy. And because you have fun on a call, because people have fun with you, people will want to do business with you. That's the thing. Listen, we're coming out of COVID. It doesn't matter whether you're in Belgium or Brussels or Beaumont, Texas. We're coming out of a place right now where people have put their authority in thing they had no authority over, called a job, called, quote, the government. We're not getting political here, but they've put themselves into a place that they thought they had authority over what they had, and they now realize the only thing they have authority over is themselves. And there's going to be two kinds of folks that come out of here, out of this COVID, and we're starting to see it right now. The ones who are going to say, I'm ready for new, or you're the reason I failed. And the challenge is that we're going to take on the responsibility to keep them from failing. And we're going to get pulled down into the mud with them. We have to stay at a high energetic level that says, I can help you out. I can help you up. And this addiction to service has to be to serve, not to be the servant.
Yeah. Yep.
And all too often, ladies, hear my heart again. I have a special place for you. The Dalai Lama said, the world will be saved by the Western woman. I just think we take the word Western out. The world's going to be saved by you. It has to be. Nobody else knows how to save. Nobody else knows how to give birth. For a couple 100,000 years, we've beat everything on the head with a club, and we've gotten this far. It might be time to see if we can't hold somebody. Is this making sense? If this is making sense, folks, type a Y in the chat.
Why?
Okay. Cool. The difference between being a servant and being of service is the difference between me being the one at the bar that gives you the next drink that makes you drunk, or me being the one that says, no more, you're cut off, and you get mad at me. Sometimes being of service requires a force of love. right? Imagine your child. Imagine, Julia, you have a child and you're crossing one of the major highways in Belgium. And they stop midway through the street and they go, Mommy, why is the sky blue? Oh, sweetheart, let's stop and talk about that. Meanwhile, a lorry is bearing down on you with the horn blowing. No, they'll stop because I'm being a servant to you. I'm taking care of you. No, being in services, you grab their hand and you drag their little butt across the street and you go, when we get to the other side, I'll tell you what it is.
Mm-hmm. And we do that with the 3 questions.
Yep. Do I have your permission to help? Make you feel uncomfortable? Take you out of the uncomfortable feeling. Listen, folks, I'm probably the least qualified to have achieved the success I've achieved. I had a 0.9 grade point average in school, barely made it through university, can't spell. So I had to learn how to stand in front of the room. My dad said the one with the pen in the front of the room makes the most money. Since I never had a job. My first job was in my 30s, and it was vice president of a $200 million network marketing company. Why would a $200 million a year network marketing company hire me? Because I know how to move people. I got very good at certain things. So now the question is can you move people with love, with care? But to move people is one of the most difficult professions there is. But you want to know the other side of it? It's one of the highest paid professions there is. Now, you can move people and become wealthy. I mean, you can become rich. You teach people how to move people, you turn into a farm boy from Ohio who stood on stage in 30 countries and been translated into 40 languages. The 3 questions again, Amina, is, do I have your permission to help? When you sit down with anybody and they're asking you for help, I know it sounds crazy, but you've got to ask them, do I have your permission to provide you help? How many times, listen, if this has ever happened to you, how many times have you ever sat down with somebody, gave them the best you got, and they said, absolutely, and then they didn't use it? Type a D if they didn't use it in the chat. You gave them the best information you had, and they didn't use it. You know why they didn't use it? Because at a subconscious level, they weren't ready to be helped. They didn't see it as help. They see it as a threat. Could you imagine Julia sitting down across from me? Honestly, Julia, I love you. I appreciate you. But do you think there's anything I'm going to pay attention to other than your beauty? And I know that sucks for you because it's like, would you just get out of here and listen to my head? Listen to my heart, would you please, chucklehead? So, and she knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's why she can't stop laughing. She goes, that's been the last 700 conversations I've had. She's like, I'm going to talk to you without my camera on, if that's okay with you, you pig. So, so the challenge is we have to get them back into their mind so they can hear ours. We've got to get them ready for the next step so that when we say, take the next step, they can find us. So as you sit there and have a conversation with somebody, the first thing you want to ask them is, hey, listen, do I have your, can I ask you 3 simple questions? I always ask, do I have your permission to ask you some questions? Yeah, sure, go ahead. This one's going to sound odd, but is it okay if I help you? Not that I'm going to teach you anything, but listen, a buddy of mine, Scott Schilling, says this all the time. He starts off his workshops with this. By show of hands, how many of you don't know what you don't know? And everybody's got to raise their hand. Here's the next question he asks. How many of you think I might know what you don't know? Now, all of a sudden, it gives me credibility to sit in front of you.
Yes. Ethos. Yes.
So that's what this simple thing does, is for people to say, listen, do I have your permission to help? And here's what happens, the law of reciprocity. If they say yes to that, guess what they have to do for me?
Listen.
They gotta help me.
Oh. Oh.
If I say good morning, Corinne, what do you say to me? Good morning.
Good morning.
Did I say the question? Did I say it this way? Corinne, I'm going to say good morning to you. I want you to respond to me in like kind.
No.
All I said was good morning. And you went, good morning. That's called the law. That's called the law of reciprocity. Now, there's something called the forced law of reciprocity. Watch this. Julia, has anybody told you how absolutely amazing you are today?
You're the first. Thank you.
Now what's Julia going to do? She's going to have to figure out, how does she pay me back for that? This is all happening at a subconscious level. It's not NLP, neuro linguistic programming, but it's close. But all I want to do is set people up in a state to care for each other. So do I have your permission to help? Well, yeah, that's why I'm sitting my butt here. So now all of a sudden at a subconscious level, they're saying, I wonder how I can help them. And so then the next question is listen, Corinne, if you're going to do something you've never done before, wouldn't it be fair to say you might feel a way you've never felt before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So can we have a conversation about things maybe you haven't heard before? Well, I hope so. It might make you feel a little uncomfortable. So do I have your permission to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and everybody's going to go, yeah. Now in the thousands of times I've asked, I've had two people in a group. One was in Toronto. Another one was in Sardinia, Italy, where they said, no, you can't make me uncomfortable. I said, could you please leave the room? They paid me to stand in front of the room. I said, could you please leave the room then? Guess what? They stayed, and those were the two people who said it changed their life the most. Funny how that works. So then the third question is, and so when I preface the second question going, hey, listen, can I make you feel uncomfortable? And I hope you answer that right, because you're going to love the third question.
Yep.
They know the right answer is, yes, you can make me uncomfortable. They're wondering, what is the third question? The third question is can I take you out of that uncomfortable feeling?
Yes.
And now, guess what we can talk about? Anything.
Yes. But basically, we're talking about how to move them, right?
How I can't move them. Jim Rohn says you can carry one person on your back, maybe two. If you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, whatever his Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you may be able to carry three. But you can't carry more than one and walk through life. So I'm not here to move them. I'm here to give them permission to move themselves.
Permission to move themselves. Permission.
Because addiction to approval says they ain't moving. That's why they're talking to you.
Oh, man. So how do I release my addiction to approval and as much as I can?
Journal. Become aware of every moment. Stay in joy, not in misery.
Okay.
See, I've been giving you the Yoda solutions. Now we're getting into the science behind it.
Yeah.
Do or do not. There is no try. Joy or misery? Which do you choose? Does it choose you?
Right?
Right.
Because nobody really needs to know the science behind it.
No.
Because if it starts to work, you're just going to do it. How many of you understand all of the muscles necessary to pick up a spoonful of cereal or to pick up your coffee? Let's see. I have to activate the anterior and the posterior, and I got to clench my butt, and I got to, what? Oh, you're picking up coffee. You have no idea what you got to do. I got to adjust my stomach muscles because as my coffee empties, my stomach muscles no longer need. And otherwise, every time I drink my coffee, I'd be falling over. We don't need to know the science. We just need to know if we love people enough and if we love ourselves enough, people want to hang around us.
Yep. That helps. That helps a lot, Sean.
Okay. I'm glad, Corinne. I love
Thank
you
you.
bunches.
Thank you. And it feels amazing for you to call me Corinne. So thank you for us getting to that point. Thank you.
Yes. And
Yes.
I love being able to say that name, and I love that I get to count on you. I love that I have you in my corner, and I love that I get to call you my little sister.
Mm-hmm. A lot of respect. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you. Ah, life is so amazing. Let's see here. Is Brittany back?
Can you hear me?
Yes. My life is complete now.
So during the technical difficulty, which I didn't even know that there was a technical difficulty,
Okay.
I think I don't have a question anymore. I don't know. I
Okay.
just look at it as a So
Okay.
Okay.
But you know, you're always one of our favorite. You're like our favorite guest.
I don't
So.
know. I didn't know.
You're like our CNN special, and now we go to our special reporter.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
Okay, I love you. You're full of everything. You're full of joy and love. So that's enough for me right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Latoya. Latoya. Look at Cheyenne's picture with her little baby there. How beautiful is that? That's why.
This morning, ready
Good morning.
to take over the world.
Absolutely. That's why I do this. That's why I do this profession, is because every one of us is going to be okay. It's the ones who come after us that we need to serve, and we need to create a legacy for, so the world is a little bit better place for them. So Cheyenne, thanks for sharing that peanut with us. Let's go to Anne. Let's go to Anne in the UK. We're just popped Belgium, back to Hotlanta, now back over to the UK.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Anne. How's my lovely?
I am great, thank you. How are you?
Outstanding.
Excellent. So, I don't want to be annoying. You know how we did that thing yesterday about relationships? And
Yes.
mine. So, a part of my body feels like I've released something, but
Yep.
another part of my body is telling me, like, you just told them what happened, like you haven't really released anything. So why do you feel better? Because I do, like, before, when I had the disinterestedness in my business, that's gone now. Like, I want to work hard and I want to do it now.
Yep.
But something in my body or in my mind is like, what did you really do? So I'm like,
what you really did is that you broke generational changes.
"Ooh."
So in doing that, the challenge is that in breaking those changes, it's rewire your DNA is changing.
How do you break a generational curse? I don't understand.
Okay. Hold on just a second. So, because of what we talked about yesterday,
Yeah.
some of the things that you shared with us
Yeah.
and some of the releases that you had go all the way back to the start of your family's lineage.
Yeah.
And so now you're sitting here with this new understanding, and your body's literally having to rewire itself. And the genes that duplicated from yesterday are changing. See, the challenge is that if you've ever had a cold before,
Yeah.
do you know when you get over the cold, or do you just, like, when you realize at one point, I haven't, like, blown my nose in 5 hours. I didn't know I was over it. Yesterday, you knew you were over some old addictions.
Yeah.
And now, like, you went to the gym and you worked out yesterday at a cellular level, and now you're feeling it today.
Okay.
Imagine if you'd never been to the gym before and worked out your arms. You'd be like, what? Listen, when Mason was a baby and he got sunburn, He's like, will I ever be peach again? He didn't know that his skin was red, he thought it was permanent. He thought he just like, he jumped in a dye and his skin would never go back to being peach again. When his arms hurt from when he was doing something in the yard and his arms would hurt, he's like, what is that? He didn't know that pain was normal. You don't know that this feeling is normal as you awaken to your greatness.
Okay.
And so now it's also the addiction to the old story saying, well, this isn't good.
Oh.
Let's go back to the old, at least right? What is every addict? Listen, folks, when I talk about this addiction to approval, it is worse than any heroin, worse than any crack, worse than any cocaine, worse than any drug out there that I don't know about right now with a name that's got some kind of name. It's worse than any drug out there because it's happening in our head 24/7. At least when you take a drug, alcohol or heroin or any kind of drug, it gets in your body and it causes the high, and then you've got to retake it. The challenge is our brain never shuts off and you're on that drug 24/7. And when you adapt to the new story, you're going through an addict's withdrawal. And it just says, well, can't I just go back to being mean to myself one more time? All I need is just one more hit. And the whole story starts over again. There's 4 stages that you go through in any one of these moments. Fear, that's where you were at yesterday. Sadness, that's where you might be today. Fear, sadness, excited. Oh my gosh, I get to feel this way all the time. And then the 4th one is the new normal. Fear, sadness, excited, normal.
I think I skipped a stage.
Okay, which one did you skip?
Sadness.
No, you were that yesterday.
Oh yeah, I cried.
Yeah. See how the brain works? Oh, I need to go back to being sad. No, you were already sad. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh, now I'm happy again. Isn't it crazy?
Thank
Listen,
you, Sean.
you bet. I love you, my dear. Here's the thing. If I say up, y'all say what? Down. I say in.
Out.
I say hot.
Cold.
We live in a binary world. And if you're as predictable as that, so is your prospect. So is that person sitting across the table from you. So when I see you standing in front of the helicopter with the champagne, right? I instantly make assumptions. When Julia turns off her camera, I'm not sure which one's more beautiful, the live or the other picture. And I know she keeps going, why does he keep saying that? Well, because I'm wanting your subconscious to hear that we see your beauty. Most people won't even talk to you about it because they're intimidated by it. Ladies, listen to me. As beautiful as you are, nobody's going to listen. Some of you may have heard this story. I used to go to Boston all the time. And a buddy of mine from the UK came over, actually from Australia came over. And we had a whole little lion territory, who's got territory kind of argument. And we became the best of friends. But we would always make sure we flew home together, meaning we left the airport at the same time. And we would go about 2 hours early before TSA and all of that stuff, before 9/11. And we would walk through the airport and find the most beautiful women and say, listen, thank you for looking so amazing. I'm sorry that your beauty intimidates so many people and they won't come up to you and just say hi, but I just want to say thank you for being so beautiful. If you'd like, we're having lunch with some of the most beautiful people in the airport over here at the restaurant at 11 o'clock if you'd like to join us. And we would have a table of 20 women that looked like they just walked out of the swimsuit model, Sports Illustrated, the cover of Vogue. And it was the first time they could all actually have a conversation together. And it'd be one of the most amazing, listen, look at this face. Look at this face. 20 beautiful women don't sit at a table with me. Unless you're giving them something they've never had before, and that's honor and respect for just being a human. They're human first. The beauty came after. Can you have a conversation with the human and let the beauty be the icing? And there would be women that we would have a conversation with who just, their confidence, they carried their confidence in such a way. They didn't need to do all of the other stuff. So it was just an amazing, and that we did that for 4 months, once a month. So we did that 4 or 5 different times. Such charmers. Let's see here. Is this helping folks? Because this is all we do. All we do is provide value to individuals who are looking for help. And the most difficult thing, think about this, think about yourself. What's the most difficult thing for all of us to do? Is to think about asking for help. So when you sit down with a prospect, they're already nervous because you're putting them in a place of public speaking. I don't care if it's on a Zoom or in some kind of a message. People say they would rather die in a fiery car crash than publicly speak. They don't know, I could never do that. So then you sit down across the table from them and somebody sees my resume and they've got, oh my gosh, he's got 22 years experience. He stood on stage in 30 countries. He's been the vice president of sales of a $200 million network marketing company. What am I going to say to him? And what's he going to ask me? You want to know the first question I ask somebody when I sit down with them? Some of you have been on 3-ways with me. The first question I ask somebody, how can I be of service? You want to know what I ask when I'm prospecting and somebody shows up for a prospecting conversation with me? How do you want to get started? What? Yeah, how do you want to get started? What are you talking about? Well, you wouldn't come here if you... Listen, I'm not a teacher. Did you think I was a teacher? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm here to help people get started in business. How do you want to get started? Well, I don't even know why I'm here. Okay. How could I be of best service to you then? Well, aren't you going to tell me about your thing? What thing? Well, your business. Why would I want to tell you about my business? Well, because I'm looking for something. Awesome. What are you looking for? Well, a way to create income. Great. When do you want to get started? I haven't asked him to join me yet. That's different. Follow me on this. I haven't asked him to join me. I asked him, when do they want to get started creating the income? I'm on a small talk diet. Too many of you are wanting to teach them your profession, your comp plan, your this, your that. Listen, some of you were faithful in nature. We ask a simple question. When do you want to accept him as the guy that you want to accept? We don't sit there and tell you, but let me tell you about the cross and let me tell you about Pontius Pilate. You want him or not? So how can I help you get started? Started in what? Well, taking care of your family. And see, that's the challenge. When they go, you want to tell them your comp plan. They don't care about your comp plan. You know how the comp plan works? Talk to more people. Well, how do you make money? Talk to people who say yes. Well, how do you make a lot of money? Teach people how to talk to people to get them to say yes. Well, how much money can you make? Depends how many people you can talk to. How much money have you made? Not enough. I'm taking Julia on the road with me. I'm just going to have her in my audience. I want her front and center. Actually, I want her on stage next to me going, y'all better think this is funny. Look at her. She thinks it's funny. Do you see how if we have a true conversation with a friend, it gets a lot simpler versus a prospect? Versus somebody we're trying to get something from. Listen, you've already got the credibility. You don't need to wow them with bullshit by telling them your company's comp plan and how long you've been in business and how you make money, whether it be trading or imagine if I sat down with you and I said, let me tell you about ashwagandha. I don't even know if that's the right ingredient. Let me tell you about ashwagandha. It's this drug that's made from sweet potatoes, I think, that's grown on the third Thursday of every moon, that's picked by virgins who are only under the age of 18. It's what makes our product so special. Would you like some? It's crazy if you think about it, right? There's 100 pennies in a dollar. Our company pays out between 48 and 50 cents of those pennies. How many of those do you want? Yeah, I'm on a roll this morning. Y'all got me fired up.
Hey, good morning, Sean.
Hey, good morning, Leo.
How are you, sir?
Our 6-hour, 3-minute guy.
Yesterday, I cut it down to 5. No kidding. I just have a question. How would you go about, someone, let's say you got me started. I'm your first distributor you got started, and you're launching me in my business. How would you go ahead and help me invite the people in my life to see our opportunity?
Well, if you don't know that, then I've got to work on that. See, because otherwise you're using my script to invite people. You need to know why you want to invite people. So I would take you through what I do, my 21 reasons in 5-minute exercise to find the number one reason that drives you.
Okay.
Because Kyle Wilson taught me this: find the domino that knocks all the other dominoes over. All too often, we don't have enough dominoes set up. We got one domino and we keep knocking it over and we keep doing this. There's no momentum. I keep knocking over the domino. Yeah, but how many do you have set up? 1. Okay. That's really not, nobody gets too excited to see one domino fall over. Unless it's a big ass domino. Boom! And that's usually burning in flames. Y'all starting to see why there's 30,000 people in my organization after 18 months?
100%. It's like, man, that's quantum growth, like quantum leap of growth within a short amount of time.
Now, what makes me successful? 21 years of failing. Y'all just haven't failed enough. I've failed in more countries and in more languages than most of you will ever see.
Hey, Sean,
Yes,
how you doing today? Good
Good.
morning.
Zaqueen. Say your first name for me.
Zaquan. Yeah, it's a very
Zaquan.
millennial name.
Good morning, Zaquan.
Yeah, very millennial name.
It's just, listen. I've already got a bromance with you, but I just want to be able to say I've got a friend, Zaquan.
I love it. I love it. Hey, man, I'm glad. I'm honored to say I got a friend named Sean Murphy, man.
Oh, and people are going to go, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Go ahead, Zaquan.
Well, I mean, I've been listening to you all morning, and this is my first time hopping on your calls.
Awesome. Welcome, brother.
Thank you. I was actually invited by my guy Nano, and he pretty
He's
much
a
led me
stud.
to you.
I just
Yeah,
want to put
man.
him in my pocket.
Yeah, man, he's a cool guy. And I've been a part of multi-level marketing companies for about 3 years now. I
Okay.
just turned 23.
Awesome.
And I joined my first one when I was 19.
Yep.
And it was a company called Legal Shield, and I thrived in it.
Awesome.
And after I left Legal Shield, and that's when I joined IML, and
Yep.
and now I am now part of another multi-level marketing company. So I'm running 2 companies right now on my own, trying to build them independently. And my biggest thing right now is I provide value, I show face, I'm always present and working a lot, but it's like I'm just very active, but I'm not being productive, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah,
a lot of
because-
activity,
so-
not a lot of results.
So here's what
Lot of activity.
here's what my father-in-law would say. You can't ride 2 horses with one ass.
Damn.
And I know that sucks, but here's the thing. You can, but you're going to have to ride each horse individually when you ride that horse. So how do you get people into your stable? Imagine if you owned an equestrian center and you were giving people the chance to ride horses. Your language would change to get them into the stable versus which horse you want to talk to them about. I'm not saying you should do two, but if you're committed to doing two, Zequan, you're going to wind up, you've got to have a conversation that allows people to come to the stable, not get on the horse. In Europe, in the European markets, it's very common for people to be in 3 or 4 different companies, because anytime a company goes international, they're going to screw up. And when people's livelihood depend upon their income from a network marketing company, because that's 100% of their income, they gotta have their multiple streams. In the U.S., we're pretty lucky. You pick one, if they make it 2 years, there's a good chance they're going to make it a bunch. But in the European market, when companies go international, whether it be Europe or Latin America, it's very rare that they only do one company. It's rare to do 2 companies and be successful in here. There's only 3 people that I know of in this industry. Brian McMullen is one of them. He makes $1 million a year from each of his companies. But why? Because he sets up systems. And he's this young, if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't think he wouldn't say poo if he had a mouthful of it. But he's a monster of just understanding reality of human nature. Let me put it this way. He was thrown in military jail because he pulled his gun on his drill sergeant.
Goodness gracious.
That's how much he doesn't like authority and doesn't like to rock the boat. But Brian is an amazing soul. But there's very few people who can do what he does.
Perfect. So basically what you're saying is I have to remaster, I guess, the perfect invite.
Yeah, I would say you get to invite people to make a choice.
All right.
You get to invite people to make a choice versus making the choice for them. So you have to speak at the 30,000 foot view where the different companies are at the 10,000 foot view. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So we get in the plane and all of a sudden somebody's looking out the window going, well, I want to go to that island. And you're like, you've got in the GPS that you're going to downtown Manhattan. Well, I thought we were going to the city. No, I changed my mind. Okay. So be ready to be flexible. But have a conversation that the flexibility is already built in.
Perfect.
Does that make
sense?
sense?
That was the answer. Yes, sir. That was the right answer I was looking for.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Woo! Still got it. Whew. After 22 years.
Oh yeah, I'll be there soon, man. I'll be on your level soon.
Listen, hear me carefully. If you're not there already, you'll never get here. When you make up your mind to be here already, time and space will move in accordance to allow you to arrive. But you have to already have the destination plugged in. You don't need to sacrifice anymore, buddy. You know why you don't need to sacrifice any harder than me? Because I just gave you the secrets. The challenge is you're going to think I've got to work hard to get to his level. I just gave you the golden ticket. That's why I'm giving you all of this. And that's why I can do 459 episodes and y'all still keep coming back, is because you haven't plugged in what I suggested you use. Because, well, I got to work harder. I got to grind. I'm so glad I got rid of you all saying the word grind. You don't need to grind. You need to get people to say your name. Say your name for me one more time, your first name.
Zaquan.
Zaquan.
Yes, sir. Zaquan Campbell.
How can they forget you?
They can't.
They can if you remind them of the reasons they say no to themselves.
Wow.
Yeah, I know that sucks. There's a gut punch for you. How's that feel? But if you give them the chance to remember that the name Zaquan Campbell means joy, happiness, success. See, when we all think of Julia, we're going to think of the smile and the laugh and that hair. When we think of Katerine, I think of that hair, that picture of her with that hair when it's coming down the sides of her. I mean, it's like this, oh my gosh. When I think of Brittany from Hotlanta, I think of this beautiful face that has this just absolutely gorgeous shape to it, that it's like you just want to put your hands around it and go, you're so beautiful. When I think of Luis, I think of the curly hair. And then you listen to his language, you listen to his wisdom at 27. Good Lord. So my mission in life, be a better dad, better husband. I'd come up with your tagline. What is your tagline?
Well, right now it'd be global.
Yeah. Doesn't make me get all sexy and hot. Because that's just a generic. You're not generic. You've got a name that ain't generic. Be global ain't. Everybody can be global. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I do. I'm actually the youngest of 3.
You're the youngest of 3. So you know what it's like to be the baby of the family.
I do.
So how many kids? I'm the baby of the family. Guess what? I'm 54. You're not. We're the same. That's called a psychographic, not a demographic. And when you find a psychographic, that finds your tribe. Your vibe will create your tribe. Imagine if you went out and say, listen, I'm only going to talk to people who are the baby of the family because we see life in a totally different way than anybody else.
Correct.
Guess what? They're going to go, he's more like me than he's not. Because how many people have you run into that have your same first name?
Literally 1.
So
in the
1 out of
past
7
8 years.
1 out of 7 billion so far, and you're wanting to be like everybody else, going, be global. I love you. I love you, brother. But I ain't going to let you be that cheesy.
Thank you for that. I need it.
I know you do. That's why you're here. That's why you've got that name. You've already dealt with, I got to tell people 500 frickin' times how to say my name. You're already unique. Don't dumb down your greatness by being like everybody else.
Thank you.
Somebody asked, why did I get started in network marketing? So here's how I got started in network marketing. I had the realization when I understood the profession after I thought network marketing was an arm's reach away from purse snatching. I thought you had to own a shopping cart to be in this business. What do you mean? Well, only poor people did this, right? Or all of your stuff on a stick. I literally thought I had such a bad vision of network marketing. It was horrible. But soon as I understood that you get compensated for how well you serve people, I'm like, I sold all of my businesses. I had 7 businesses at the time. I don't encourage people quit their job to go into network marketing full time. I sold 7 businesses with 100+ employees all on the same day. You know what day I sold it on? Guess what day I sold it on? If you know me as a joker, April Fools. And I did that because I got tired. Here was the turning point. I said, I can no longer in good consciousness, pay people just enough so they don't quit and they work just enough so I don't fire them. I can't force people to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week so I could give them the weekend off. That business model didn't work in my heart anymore. Made perfect sense for my check, but it didn't work in my heart anymore. And I sold all my businesses and I went full time in the industry. And because I was so wealthy, that's why I could, my first year in the network industry, $80,000, wait for it, in debt. Because I was going to buy my way. I was going to buy the love of my distributors. See, I can see that now. I didn't see it then. Then I thought I was being in service. I was just being stupid. So that's why I got started in the profession, because I didn't think it was fair to put people into an economy that didn't give them freedom. Kind of like religiosity. Yeah, I went there. RBP. Let's give you freedom. Follow the rules of the book and pay attention to how I interpret it. We'll be back next Sunday. And bring your coin. So, and make sure those of you that donate more, you get to sit up front because this is all about church. Anyways, should have had that conversation yesterday. Is this helping y'all? There's Jennifer. Good morning, Jennifer. Talk about somebody who's on fuega. I hope that's not a bad word in Spanish. I guess I should have just said fuego. Good morning, everybody. Y'all liking this? Is this good? Will y'all come back tomorrow if it makes sense?
Yes, Sean.
Julie, hello, my love. Military advanced 5 ranks while she was in the military serving us.
Sean, can I say one quick thing? Just one quick thing.
Listen, you can run the rest of the show. I'll make you the host.
So, Sean, so you know when you were speaking about opening people, like asking them the questions such as, how can I help you get started? Before, I had a script for opening people. Like, I had 4 questions that I would always ask after they got an opportunity call. And then I realized that it just, like, they don't know what I'm doing. Like, even after they go on the app call, they don't know what I'm doing. So I was asking them questions like, how much money do you want to make? You know, those generic questions. And then like 2 weeks ago, I started asking people, all right, so, you know, now that you saw the opportunity, now that you saw everything, I asked them some questions. And then I let them know this. All right, so how can I help you get started? It seems to me that you want to do this. You're interested, you're excited. So how can we get you get started? Are you ready to get started now? More, like, I think out of 30 people that I spoke, like 15 people joined my organization in a matter of a week by just me asking a simple question. And then they were saying, they used to tell me, they would tell me on the call, I thought you were gonna just pitch me the idea and give me, you know, an entire rundown. And they all said, work so much. And I feel like we're so, you know, we listen to you every single day. I listen to you almost every single day, and I'm starting to sound like you. I'm starting to sound like you. You know, it's finally clicking. I've been, you know, for the past year and a half, I've been on this call, or for the past year, and it's finally clicking. Like everything.
So, Julie, you bring up a good point. People say it takes 21 days to form a habit. It takes 21 days to become conscious of a habit. It takes a year to change it. See, nobody wants to hear that. But to 21 days to form a habit. No, 21 days to become aware that you have a choice of the habit. Unless it's highly emotional. You get held at gunpoint yesterday, you don't need to, it's not going to take you long to remember that. You don't have to work really hard to remember that. If there's enough high emotion. But what you're doing is you're rewiring yourself to where now it becomes habit.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I do have a quick question.
Sure.
So my question is this. So I'm recently starting, you know, I'm having a team of older, individuals in my organization.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
And, you know, they're just so, like, the people that are joining my business, they're very stuck on their ways. Like I will make a suggestion and they will say, no, I don't want to do that. And I don't feel like telling them, you know, like, but you have to, or I encourage you to. And because they're older, I feel like I'm telling, you know, I'm disrespecting my mom or my dad when I tell them, you know, they're like they're in the 40s, late 30s, early 50s. And I don't know. I don't want to disrespect any older person on this call. But yeah, like, how would I go about that? You know, how would I be able to guide them and show them and help them grow in this journey?
So start with the end in mind.
Okay.
So, Julie, let me ask you, do you want to do it the hard way or the easy way?
The easy way.
And if you knew the easy way, would you do it?
Of course.
So would it be fair to say maybe you don't know the easy way because the way you're doing it's the hard way?
Okay.
Would you be, and Should the easy way be difficult or simple?
Simple.
Okay, so if I showed you a simple, easy way, would you want to use it?
Yes.
And if you choose not to use it, whose fault is that?
Mine.
Is it okay if I give it to you?
Yes.
And then you're responsible to them, not for them.
Sean, you always tell me this. Like I still I still have to
Listen,
I think that
the challenge is that, again, so I'm going to speak to you because I love you. You're like my little sister. There's a couple of issues you have here. One, military. But before that, being a female, wired to be in service, wired to be a servant. Then you add the military in there, honor and respect. Now that's like a double-edged whammy. That's like the red velvet hammer that constantly hits you. You ever see somebody who goes to take the hammer and they go and they hit this big, like the big yoga ball, and it bounces off and knocks them out?
Mm-hmm.
That's you every time.
Wow.
Give them the hammer. Let them knock themselves out.
Thank you so much, Sean. I'm telling you, I have a breakthrough in every single call you do. It's getting scary now.
Yeah,
my journal's filled with your name, Sean Murphy.
I pray you stay healthy, because otherwise they're going to call me.
Thank you, Sean.
I love you, my dear. But folks, the reason that this seems to make so much sense, and Brittany, you're up next. I heard you on mute. The reason this makes so much sense is because it's triggering the basic fundamentals of your brain of I can do that. Doesn't have to be complicated. Could you imagine if the network marketing company was this? Hey, Sean, we've got a way for you to look a little bit hotter, a little bit sexier. We're going to make you look like Julia. We've got all of the makeup. We can frizz your hair. We can give you the lipstick. We can give you the big hoop earrings, and you're going to look exactly like Julia in a year. I'm in, but it ain't going to work. You can't turn this into that. But you can make me a handsomer me. You put me in a tux. You get me on stage. I'm sexy. You put me in jeans and a Robert Graham shirt and my colorful shoes. Now I'm sexy to me. And now I can have fun. Be more of you and less of everybody else. Give a chance. Now the challenge is that very few people believe in the person that they're talking to. Because here's the thing. If we're all going through this, there's 102 of us going through this right now. You're going to go out and sit with your prospect. And all of a sudden, you're going to go, oh my gosh, have I got news for you. Your life doesn't have to suck anymore. You should join me. And they're going to be like, okay. And in 30 days, they'll be gone because it's like, I'm not as good as them. Oh, they're going to find out about me. You know right from the get-go. My name's Sean Murphy. I started selling corn off a hay wagon when I was 4 years old. Barely made it through high school with a 0.9. I thought 1 was a perfect score. I had a 0.9 grade point average. I drove by many colleges. I can't spell. My daddy taught me the one in the front of the room with the pen makes the most money, so that's where I decided to stand. Can I teach you how to get there? Let's get started. Well, how do you do that? Very well. Why do you ask?
Sean, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So then how you get them to join you?
They join me because they can't afford not to be with me because I have the secret. And so the way they join me is they go, I want to do what you're doing. I want the joy that you have, and I want to create the income you have. The way we get them to join us, Eve, is when they realize that no matter what it is they're going to have to do, they're going to have to learn something new. The challenge is that we're trying to teach them so much new stuff, they don't think they can learn it, so they can't join us. You have an amazing company with an incredible track record. Nobody has to worry about whether your company is going to be in business or not, do they? So if they don't need to worry about your company being in business, what's the next thing they need to worry about? Are you going to be in business? And if you're going to be in business, then I should join you. But if you're trying to teach me, I got to learn the ingredients. I got to learn how to prospect. I got to learn I got to make a list. I got to do all these things. All of that's easy to do if the reason is big enough. Listen, there's 97 people on here right now. I could show you all how to sponsor 100 people between now and Friday. Without a doubt. Anybody want to know the secret? I can teach you how to sponsor 100 people between now and Friday.
Sign me up.
Watch this. I'll give it to you. It's free. If you all told me the name of somebody you love, and now I want you to picture the tallest building you can think of. I've got your friend, I've got the person that you love. You told me their name. I have them with me at that tallest building you could think of. And at the end of the week, if you don't have 100 people sponsored, I'm going to push them off. Not one of you would, you'd have 100 people done by Tuesday and you'd be hunting me down to kick my butt the rest of the week, wouldn't you? I can take away your excuses. The challenge is can you take away your excuses? Our responsibility as an enroller is to take away the excuses. Some of you give them the excuses by giving them things to do that are not income producing activities. We don't get paid. Listen, you're not getting paid to be on this call. This is not an income producing activity. This is a sharpening the saw activity to make the activities you do that produce you income easier, faster, better. But Eve, I had a conversation with a guy the other day. We talked for an hour. He said, I don't know what I'm joining, but how do I join? I go, why would you want to join? He goes, because whatever you're doing, I want to be with it. I said, cool. We're in the wellness. He says, oh, I love wellness. I said, our flagship product helps the body organize itself to give away weight. He's like, I'm in. I could lose some weight. Awesome. But before you get started, we want you to have a 7-day experience. Oh, cool. So I can get a demo? Yeah, 7 days. Try it. If you like it, guess what? You get to move forward. If you don't, no hard feelings. We'll still be friends. Awesome. This is great. Could I do that? Yeah. Do you know anybody who'd like to try something for 7 days? I know a bunch of people. He had 4 people signed up before we got off the call. They didn't know what it was. The challenge is if I tell you something you don't know about, what are you going to wind up doing? Imagine if I told you, listen, you need a 442 split mechanical seal with sintered silicon carbide faces, and you need with neoprene O-rings or nitrile O-rings with a graphite gasket. Some of you just passed out. But that particular combination, 1 year, that combination, that particular ingredient list, that recipe list, made me about $135,000 in the phosphate chemical plants, in phosphoric acid plants. How many of you want to sign up for that? No, thank you. So the key is, Eve, you have this incredible ability to just be an amazing human being. I don't want anybody to join me in business. I want people to join me on a mission. Nobody wants another job. But if we started a charity to end child trafficking, I'd have people join me all from around the world. What's the thing that you're looking to do? Right? Are you looking to part of the income, part of your give back? Is it for kids? I mean, imagine if you started a fund to buy Barbies for kids. Listen, 5% of what I'm doing is I'm starting a charity to buy the doll of a little girl's dreams, so that they can have it. They don't have to wait for Christmas to have it. They can write into this charity and we'll send them the doll of their dreams. Who wouldn't join you on that mission? when they know your story. And here's the thing I'm going to guess about you, Eve. That's just one of many stories that you've had to work through in your life. Yeah, I see that smile on your face. So that's how people join you. Nobody wants to join you in business. Very few people are entrepreneurial, but a lot of people have a desire. Does that make sense? Cool. Good Lord. I've been talking for almost 2 hours. Yikes. What? How is that possible? Well, because I'm a speaker, it takes me half an hour to clear my throat. Akila, is it Akila? Who's got her hand up? Akila?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Outstanding. Thank you for bringing your energy to us today.
Of course. Thank y'all for creating it this morning.
Yay.
Grand Rising. Hello, everyone. I just want to say first, thank you to everyone who has spoken today, especially Corinne, because I was like, I want to ask a question, but I don't know how to articulate the question. And then you called her name and she asked her question. I was like, that. Yes, that. It's going to be a wonderful day today. And I am also leading a Monday mindset call for my team.
Outstanding.
Oh, thank you. Nano, you, and just my team in general have helped me a lot building my mindset and my belief system in myself. So tonight's call is going to be about how to activities and things you can do to increase your own self-confidence and love you have with yourself. So
Yep.
I wanted to ask you any other activities like journaling, positive self-talk, affirmations, and things like that, because I want to give them as much information as possible. So hopefully they can find something that works for them.
So the key is the challenge with information, as good as it is, we have to become very aware of what it's being stacked upon.
Okay.
And if we're stacking a whole bunch of confidence and activities that produce confidence, it's very unstable if we haven't secured the foundation. And what I mean by that is that the reason that this call is you go to the website personalundevelopment.com is because a lot of times we want to help people do more, have more, be more. And we get frustrated because they can't, because the old story won't let them. So I would encourage you, as you have a conversation with people, is for them to understand that they're going to have to go through some changes. They're going to have to go through some rewiring.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have them journal their growth. The reason that it takes people into their 60s to create wealth is because they finally get over themselves. You look at everybody who's created wealth in their 20s and 30s, very few of them have been able to keep it. Look at all of your sports individuals. The Pareto principle holds very true. The 80-20 rule, 20% of them might be able to hold on to it because they have somebody who's got some common sense overseeing them. But 80% of them are broke or poor or bankrupt within 5 years. And they've made millions of dollars. Todd Saddlemeyer, who was had a $45 million contract, I think with either the Cardinals or the A's, $45 million contract, bankrupt in 2 years. What? So when you talk about wanting to be of service to other individuals, I would encourage you as the person that's in the front of the room, you're going to have to talk about some of the painful things that you've been through that is making you, that makes you want to step on this journey to provide value. Why are you wanting to do this? Because you want them to help, but you can't help them unless they know the pain that you're doing to help yourself. Because that's the only thing you can do is to be the example. When you decide this is something you want to do to help yourself, they're going to go, I want what you have. But if you speak to them and say, here's all the things you should do, remember, when you point and tell somebody you should do this, there's 3 coming back. And most people aren't preaching what they practice.
Mm-hmm.
They're just preaching. Does that help?
Yes, it does. And it's hilarious that you say that, because yesterday I'm a theater major. I act, I love creating. And yesterday, with everything that happened with Ahmaud and everything, I just took the time to truly digest all of the pain that I've been holding on to from the loss of family members in my own life.
Yep.
And I wrote this beautiful creative poem, spoken word piece. And at the end of it, I was just like, wow, I wish someone had told me this the day after the funeral.
Yep.
Or the day after the second funeral. So it's really just been like, you know, sometimes when things happen that hurt you, you're searching for someone else to help heal you, but you can really do it on your own.
Yep.
And you can find that within yourself. So I'm definitely going to share that, because it was crazy. Thank you.
So here's the thing, everybody. Anything that you want is already inside of you. The question is when they asked, and this is, I don't know to this to be true, but it's a funny story. They asked Michelangelo, how you make it the David, right? He made the statue David. And Michelangelo's response was, I chippy away everything not David. Can you chippy away everything that's not you? Everything that's holding you back? The challenge is we won't chip it away. We want to hold on to it, but yet we still want to run at not Mach speed, but you can't carrying this weight around your ankles, around your heart, around your head. You're going to have to let go. And when you let go, Brene Brown says, you become vulnerable. And here's the reality. Your vulnerability. Oh, so here's this question just came in. Your vulnerability is weakness to you, but it is strength to us. No heart, Paulo Coelho in his book, Manuscript Found in a Cross, says, no heart has ever been injured on its way to its destination. So when you tell your story and you sound as vulnerable and as weak as a wet noodle, everybody hearing you hears it as this strong, you become the strongest soul on the planet. There's not one person who has shared their story on here that we all didn't fall in love with instantly. And we're like, oh, you're so strong. And it's like, but I feel so weak. In your weakness comes the strength. And when you get to tell it, I don't know if Heather Love is on here, but Heather Love, when you see this beautiful, amazing soul, she was in a Colombian prison for 3 years. She didn't tell the story for almost 13 years. Who's gonna want me? Who's gonna listen to me? Who's gonna believe in me? Because I was in a Colombian prison for 3 years, locked up abroad, not even my fault. It's because the person that was with her had some non-legal things. 3 years in a Colombian prison, didn't speak the language, in her 20s, has a baby at home. Was away from her baby for 3 years. Talk about not being a good mom, right? Talk about that story running through her life. She's now finally started to tell her story. And in telling her story, the world wants to hear her story. National Geographic has her in the episodes locked up abroad. And because her section, because the way she tells her story, it did so well, they're going to run it again this summer. But imagine if she didn't tell her story the first time. Talk about somebody scared. She did it on our morning call, is when she came out publicly to a large group. Have another dear friend who's in Panama, tells the story about from the age of 4 to the age of 14 for 10 years, raped by her dad in the morning and her stepdad in the afternoon. Nobody wants to hear those stories, but we all want to hear those stories. And now that they've released themselves, they stand taller. They stand bulletproof when somebody says you're not good enough. It's tough. The psyche won't let you tell it, But the second you tell it, the world falls in love with you and they say, she's a lot more like me than I thought. He's a lot more like me than I thought. It's tough. But see, that's what I've learned. I've learned how to help you tell your story, because in that, I give you freedom that lasts for generations. And if you haven't met me yet, my goal in life is to leave a legacy of 600 generations. Not 6 years, not 60 years, 600 generations. Because there's 2 times in this life you die. The day you leave this world, and the last time your name is ever said. How long will you live? I hope it's more than this mortal body's time. You all deserve that. And there you go. RBP, good morning.
Good morning. You got my mind racing over here. And I like that. I like it.
They were awesome this morning. Everybody on here, I got to tell you,
Yeah.
with all of the hacks coming, there was a lot of fears. I'm seeing all these names coming in going, I wonder if that's one. I wonder if that's
I know, me
wonder if that's
too.
one.
Well, there was a couple that I didn't admit. I'm going to be honest.
And so, I just kept waiting to hear that. So listen, I've been doing what I do for 50 years. I was selling corn at 4 years old. Even today, I was still nervous. I'm thinking, am I going to let down my audience? You get behind the curtains when you're here. And I'm telling you, I'm going, man, I don't know if that's the one. Because when they start coming in groups, I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's them. So even in how good I work on me, there's still a part of me that doesn't want to embarrass you. And that's my addiction to approval. I'm just letting you know, I'm giving you the behind the scenes so that you know I'm not bulletproof. I'm as close as you get, but it still happens. So, good morning, RBP.
So, a little behind the scene footage over here on me. If y'all want to hear, I don't know, do y'all want to hear some of the questions I write down from Sean from this? Yes. Or is that boring to y'all?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you
that
wanna hear
beautiful
it.
couple. Okay. So.
Yes, Queen. Let's hear it.
Oh my gosh! Don't do that to me right before I talk. Gotta contain myself. Leo, made me get out my fan. Whew. Okay, so as I'm sitting here listening to Sean, and I hear things in my head sometimes with Sean that I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can skip this call today. I've heard it, and then I'm like, I get on the call, and I get on
that when I got a mouthful of coffee.
Spew, man, all over the place. So here's the questions I ask myself, and y'all can take them or leave them. How many dominoes do I have set up? That's one of them. How do I build this with a quantum jump? And where am I jumping to in this quantum leap? And have I already jumped? And am I waiting to land? Does my name elicit joy and happiness in people and make them remember me? See, I don't have Zaquan Campbell. I don't have that name. I got Rhonda Parker. Does my name...
And that's coming from Sweden, saying that's a powerful vibration.
I know they are this beautiful couple. I've been watching them, just like going, oh my God, they're so beautiful. And I even wrote them, y'all are so beautiful. So yeah.
Love you.
And he was sitting there taking notes for her, y'all, while she was working on her phone. She's just working. And he's like, I got you, babe. And he's leaning in and he's taking notes. I'm like, oh, what a sweet, sweet couple. That's amazing. If y'all are doing this together and growing together, y'all on the right track. I'm just saying. So then my other question is this. Do I have it in me to just allow anyone to hang around the community and just grow and learn at their own pace? And can I become patient enough to keep teaching the same thing over and over until everybody gets it in the order they need to get it? Can I be more of me and less of everyone else? That's Sean's quote. Sean actually said, be more of you and less of everyone else. If I were y'all, I would post that on every social media platform you have, and then I would quote Sean and tag him in it. I'm just saying, if you want to do something like I do it. Do I make joining me easy? Do I offer value and energy? Can I create a place where excuses don't get oxygen? Can I create a place where excuses don't get oxygen? What is my mission? These, I highlighted these. What is my mission that I want people to join me on? Am I willing to hear and join others in their mission? And does joining others diminish my mission in any way, or does it actually help me in mine? Can I help people see what is not part of them? And do I have what it takes to help them let it go? And then the last few are my, just some notes to me, more questions. Becoming weak is allowing God to become strong. Can I allow myself to look and feel weak in front of others? What holds me back from allowing others to see me as weak? And my addiction to approval makes me struggle to open up. This must stop now. There is freedom in my weakness and vulnerability, and that freedom is contagious. That's what we all look for.
And how many of you right now are saying, well, I wish Sean would just go talk to Rhonda and then let her come read our questions to us, because that...
Well, getting to the point where I'm asking questions like that took quite a few, y'all gonna make me take my robe off, took quite a few months, because you're so in the way that you hear Sean and you go, oh my God, he's so amazing. Oh my God, he's got it all together. Wow, I've never heard anything like him. And that's all you say for a while, and you don't process what he's saying. You just stand with your mouth gaping, like catching flies. Oh my God. And it took me a while to stop catching the flies and go, you know what? He is saying good things. Maybe I should actually apply them. Maybe I should see what it feels like to apply them. But it's much harder to listen and to apply, because then it's that moment your addiction to approval goes, wah, here I am. Because you're like, oh my gosh, you mean I got to quit doing what? And I got to do what else? Are you, no, my friends are going to think I'm crazy. And to be honest with y'all, I'm at the stage right now where my closest friends are going, you're a little nuts. Like, it's got to the inner circle now, and they're going, you're a little crazy. And I'm to the point where I don't know who Tammy Thrasher is, but that's a scary name.
Well, I let her in because I think I know who that is.
Okay. So now I'm to the point where I this is why my notes sound differently. My questions are differently, because now I've peeled back the layers of this addiction to approval, and I'm getting closer to the core. I'm not there, but I'm getting closer to the core. And so it's to that inner circle. And you're like, oh my gosh, they think what? And can I process through that? And there's yes and no that I can process through that. You can come sit in my lap if you want to. It's yes, I can process through that. And then it's no, I can't do it alone. And it's not because I need any person's approval. It's because I'm going to have to sit with myself, and I'm going to have to sit with God, and then I'm going to have to make sure I got somebody, Sean or somebody, that's going to sit there and hold me accountable for not letting that addiction to approval slyly creep in. Because let me tell y'all something. Y'all start this, And it starts off easy to kind of see the addiction to approval and where it's at. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been there the whole time. It's lingering. It's like a bad fart. It just lingers. And you're like, really? I haven't smelt it yet. Are you kidding me? And then you smell it and you're like, oh my gosh, it's easy to see. And it's easy to see around you. And then as you begin to identify it and you start working on that, it starts taking different shapes and it gets sly and it pops up, and a problem comes to you and you're like, this is a different level problem. And then you have someone in your life that goes, is it? Because it just really looks like another level of addiction to approval. So that's why these questions, I write the questions down sometimes the way that I do. And they seem like simple questions, but they're going deeper into the application of what Sean teaches. And I love when Sean gets on his roll and he's, I don't want to say a rant because it's not a rant. He's rolling. I mean, he's slapping us right in the face with everything. But at some point in time, you got to be big enough as to who you are to take the slap that he's slapping you across the face with and grab his hand and go, hold up, buddy, I got to process this. And the reason you got to be able to do that is because you don't have to, you're addicted to Sean's approval of you going, yeah, that's good, man. That's good, man. Let me tell you right now, that's another level of addiction to approval. When you can stop and pull back and go, Sean, that was good, but I got to shut you off for a minute because I got to listen to myself for a second. Hang on. That's when you've cut off yet another level of that addiction to approval. And by all means, let me tell you, I have much respect for Sean and what he teaches and how he teaches it. I have a whole nother level of respect for myself for the application that I'm doing with what he's teaching. And that is breaking my addiction to approval. Because now, as he teaches it, I will process it the way I need to and utilize it the way I need to. And it doesn't matter if I'm using it exactly how Sean said. I'm using it the way I hear I need to use that.
Well, and so let's add another behind the scenes.
Uh-oh.
While you're trying to add it the way that you want to add it, sometimes you're not sure. You call me, and do I teach you how to do it my way or how to do it your way?
No, he always asks me questions to help me understand how to do it my way. I don't want to be Sean. I used to be like, yeah, sign me up. Give me the Sean Murphy class right here. I don't want to be Sean. I don't. I want to be Rhonda. So as he goes through, when I have those questions and I call him, I'm like, all right, dude, you got to help me here. He'll ask me questions to help me walk through it and apply it my way. And then as I begin to do that, that's when I'm going to begin to bring value to myself. And that's when I'm going to bring value to others. And when I bring value to others, then I can begin to learn to bring value to valuable people. I simply think everyone's valuable. So if I bring value, then I'm bringing value to valuable people. Does that make sense?
That's the secret Jim Rohn said.
So for whatever it is.
Income's like ladders on a rung. And the only way you increase your income is by bringing more value. So you can bring value to the marketplace. And then when you want to become wealthy, you become valuable to valuable people.
Yeah. Well, and I got to tell you, on this call, a big thank you to not only to Sean, but every one of you that show up, because you bring such diversity into my life. I'm sitting here in the middle of East Texas, and I'm not from where I'm sitting. I'm from deeper East Texas, and I grew up in a culture of, I was the only white girl on my basketball team. So I grew up with more of an ethnic diversity, and I sit in a community right now where it ain't like that. And I miss having different cultures around me, and y'all give me that every one of you show up and y'all bring something different. And then God was like, oh, you think that's fun? Let's throw in Europe and let's throw in Australia and let's throw in Canada. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's go. So I have to say a big thank you because y'all helped me to awaken. And I'm not just doing it right here in East Texas. Y'all are helping me do it all over the globe. And I can't say enough thank yous for that. And the way y'all speak and the way the questions y'all ask, y'all elicit a part inside of my brain that I've never would have woke up without you. So a big, huge thank you to that. I love y'all. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Well, there you go, folks. There's another wrap for today. We'll do this again tomorrow morning. And I do appreciate you. I'm in such awe of your desire and patience to take care of you and to ask the questions. So listen, those of you that ask questions, you're still alive. You didn't burst into flames. So I appreciate you being here today. Thank you for your joy. Thank you for your smiles. I'm Sean Murphy, along with this incredible crew of misfits, the founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Love y'all.
Love you, my misfit family.
Guys,
Love
love you beautiful people. Have a positive, progressive,
day.
productive day.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Good love and value.
Good morning.
Love you guys.
Have
an amazing day.
Love for you
I love
guys.
you guys.
Love for you.
Awesome, everybody.
Have a great day.
Yeah, have a
Happy
good day.
Memorial
Love
Day.
y'all.
Thank you, veterans.
Yes.
you.
Happy
Pass it out now.
And my computer's frozen.
Está bueno, entonces me comer uno y mover el chile rojo para abajo.